welcome back. You're here with Nate28 and this is Crossbeats production. So in this video I want to talk about the 1176 and just a bit of history about the 1176 and what it basically what it's been used for in history, and I guess in the sense of who created it, the techniques behind it, and also just the way it has such a unique attack and release setting as well. So basically, first off, I'll just go through this free compressor that you can see first on my list here. So this is the Clanghelm, and it's called the MJU-C Junior. And there's actually a bigger version of this one, which is sold on the site. I'll leave the link in the description below. But basically, this is the free version. So if you're looking for a free compressor that sounds a little bit like an 1176 compressor, it's kind of the mixture between the LA2A and the 1176. It's really a good sounding compressor as well, so check it out. If you're not familiar with this compressor, it's definitely worth your while in checking it out. Fantastic on vocals, fantastic on anything you put it on, really, to be honest. You just have to adjust it to be the way you want it to sound. So anyway, let's get straight into this tutorial, and the reason why I want to show you this first compressor is because it relates back to the 1176. And the reason why it does is because it was created by the same guy who created the Universal Audio 1176, and there's been so many revisions. I think there's about maybe 6 or 8 revisions. It's up to H, I think, or E. The last one was done in 2000 as far as I know on the history of it. But all these revisions obviously are just different characteristics, different changes to circuitry and things like that. Incorporating some certain things like transistors, because most of them were using the solid state make instead of the tube sense, which is what the Clanghelm originally was, the 176, which was created by I think his name was Bill. I don't want to wreck it, I'm going to murder his name now. I better go into the history of it. So from memory, Bill Hootman, or whatever his name was, Putman, I think it is, or Putnam, that's it. Bill Putnam is, if that's how you say it, I hope it's, anyway. So anyway, he created this. He originally was the founder of UAD, or Universal Audio, as you would be aware. And he created this compressor, and it was made off the original 176, which was a tube-style compressor, similar to, I guess, you'd get with the Fairchild and things like that, that kind of tube sound. And it had a unique style of working where it used light, and just amazing technology for that time and age. 1968 or 1964, might have been somewhere around there. 1967 was the 1176. So 1967, basically just before that, he had created these tube compressors, which were used in studios around the time. And basically, if you're familiar with the style of compressor, it has a really, really fast attack speed, almost as if it was limiting, which is basically, I think it was 20 microseconds, which if you look at the speed of that, it's actually amazingly fast for a compressor. Because if you're thinking about samples within audio, for example, if you're sampling at 48 hertz, kilohertz I should say, if you're sampling at 48 kilohertz, that's one sample of a computer sample of that 48 kilohertz. So that's how fast this compressor can actually attack, and that's pretty fast. Now, I think that plays a factor in the way it actually sounds as well, because if you think about how the attack speed works, with compressors, the attack's already happening when it's first on. So basically, your compressor is put on there, you're putting on an audio source, and you're sending through a waveform or whatever signal you're sending through it. And the attack is automatic. It already happens when the first wave signal goes through it. But what happens is the speed of the attack, it creates the envelope, that the way that attack makes the envelope shaped. And it will shape a transient in the sense of, if the transient's sharp or it's sticking through, it might curve the transient and make it sharper, or it might dull it down, or whatever. It edits the transient basically, and it creates an envelope style of manipulation on the waveform. So pretty much with these compressors, the reason why you get that kind of smacking kind of sound with drums, and the reason why it sounds so fantastic, is because the way it attacks the transient. So most times people use these compressors for drum buses. They use it for anything really. Vocals is one of the main things a lot of people or engineers would put this compressor on. And I think they mainly use these compressors because the way it has such a nice rich top end as well. The compressor has a way of manipulating the audio source to create this really nice, rich, clear top end. And with vocals, if you're looking at, for example, putting a vocal through it and you don't want to EQ the vocal top end, sometimes a compressor like this, like the 1176, might be a perfect thing to put on your vocal. So it might not work every time, just bear that in mind, but that's just some of the history behind this compressor. So obviously, like I said, it's got the really fast attack time. It's got quite a fast release time as well for a compressor. You've got the settings, so it's pretty much 4 to 1, 8 to 1, 12 to 1, and 20 to 1. And then they've got this function here where you can do all buttons in. Basically what that is, it's pretty much the maximum compression that it's able to do. And that compression style is fantastic if you're using it on drums, which I'll play in just a minute just to show you what it sounds like. But that's just one of the things that you can do. So without further ado, let's just play through an audio source of the Clanghelm, which I really want to show you what it sounds like because it's a really nice sounding compressor. And what I'll do, actually I'll play it on the drums first, so I'll just get rid of these and go to my drum bus and play the drums first with the Clanghelm. So without further ado, first off, the Clanghelm. By the way, thanks for sticking around and listening to this. It's just something I just want to share with you guys. So Clanghelm on the drums, let's go. Alright, cool. So I'm going to play it with some compression on now. I just wanted to put it through the actual compressor and see what there was, if there was a difference between the highs and things like that. If you guys want to rewind, listen to it, you might see a difference. You'd have to probably listen on headphones or in your studio. But what we'll do, we'll put it on the fastest attack, and that's the time constant there. So it's the fastest attack, and I believe it's also included in the release as well. So let's get into that and start working some compression on these drums. See, as you can see, it kind of brings out some of the room, and this type of compression would be fantastic to use as a parallel mix. Obviously, you'd probably smash it a little bit more and get that really driven sound. Pretty much when I'm doing parallel compression, you're really looking at smashing the signal and then mixing the signal back in with a standard uncompressed signal. So that's your parallel compression. But I don't want to get too much into that because that's not what this tutorial is more or less about. So let's just quickly switch to the other compressors and see what they sound like. So first off, the 1176, I guess this is the polished grey metal version, and it's the legacy version, the 1176 that UAD makes. So let's just go straight into that. I'll just adjust the attack and release to quite fast. So basically the attack and release it's fast on the right hand side, and obviously it's completely opposite to what you think it would be, but anyway, let's just go straight through it. No, I don't know. That to me, I just love that smashed sound of the drums, and it just has a unique sound to it. I don't know how to explain it other than just smashing the crap out of the drums. But anyway, that's the silver version there, and we'll just go straight into the other version, which is the blackface. Now, the blackface, from my understanding, has more of a creamy kind of top end to it, and it definitely has a unique kind of flavor. Now, we'll just disable these so we're not going through the chain of those compressors there. So I'll get straight into the black one, see what that does, and see how it sounds. So let's just get straight into that. We'll do the same attack and release settings and all that jazz, and listen to those drums. Let's go. Alright, so they definitely have a different sound to each other, and I really think that they sound, they just sound amazing to me. I just love that style of compression. But anyway, I'm going to do all buttons in just to see what it affects the audio like. Let's get straight into that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's the compressor, and you can hear how it's smashing those drums, and it's really bringing out some of the room and the acoustics in the room. So that would be fantastic for parallel. As you are aware, I've done a video on parallel compression for drums, just the basics there. So anyway, that's pretty much the main history of it on drums. Obviously you can use it on other things. So I've got this track going on right now. It's just out of loops that I've come across. So I'll play the track out to you so you can hear it. So that's pretty much the loop there. I mean, if I was to put a compressor on the mix bus, what I would normally do, usually I wouldn't probably smash it too much. So I guess you kind of want to really be careful with this style of compression, what you do with it. But I'll just throw one on here just for the sake of it. Let's just throw the Junior on, since that's a free plugin, and see what that sounds like. I'll just turn it on. I'll obviously turn down the compression so we're not going to smash the entire thing. And what I might do is just throw it on auto and see how it handles the transients with the entire mix. It's something just good to listen to, because, you know, if this type of compression works for your mix, then there's no harm in using it as a mix bus compressor. Some people might not realize that you can actually throw any compressor on your mix bus if it works for your mix. And that's what it comes down to, honestly. It's just a tasteful thing. You don't have to worry about a compressor that you know, theoretically is meant for vocals or whatever, because certain things just work. So let's just get straight into that and see what it sounds like on the mix bus. Okay, so as you could see there, I really didn't compress too much. I just really wanted to get about half a dB, maybe a dB of compression. But on the mix bus, it's a lot different to using it on, you know, your standard instrument, maybe 1 or 2 dB on a mix bus, whereas on your stock, I guess the single instruments, you may want to smash them like I did with the drums there. But pretty much, this is a really great compressor if you want to look into a compressor that sounds like the 1176 and that gives you the same flavor, I guess, of sound. Maybe not all the same things that an 1176 might give you, but definitely something that is worthwhile checking out. So check out the Clanghelm. If you look into their products, like I said, I'll leave the description there. They've got a few other ones in there which I'm going to do another video on, review them. But this compressor here, I'll just show you what that is. It's another Clanghelm one. It's similar type of style of compressor, just input and output. It does have different versions, so dual mono and relaxed and deep. Obviously you can use all these different functions. It sounds great on vocals, this compressor as well. But like I said, go and check it out for yourself. They have lots of free stuff on there. There's 3 or 4 different things you could download for free. So I'll do a further review on my next review video on all the free plugins that I would recommend, and that's some that I actually personally use as well a lot. And hopefully you guys got something out of this video. If you did, remember to like, subscribe, and also thank you for sticking around till the end. If you did, I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you guys hanging around for this channel. So without further ado, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.